pushing right now. I got literally it sent to me a dozen times this weekend. Did you see the emails between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother Mark? Did you see? It's proof that Epstein was covering and had stuff on Trump as his sex life. All right. Here's Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, joining us right now. Mark, I explained to people that you want to keep it on the phone because you're afraid of what's been done and threatened to you and your family. So I appreciate you sticking your head up to have this conversation.
That's okay. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Mark, just, easy suggestion. This back and forth with Jeffrey, where he tells you that Bannon is with him, and you say, oh, great, ask him if Putin still has photos of Donnie T, I'm assuming President Trump, with blowing, which we all know what that means, Bubba.
Let me stop you here. I'm not discussing that email. This is a private email between Jeffrey and myself. It's two brothers talking. It's nobody's business what we wrote. The only thing I responded to is because people got crazy with the Bubba reference and they tried to pin it on Clinton. So I made a public statement that it was not any reference to Bill Clinton. I like Bill Clinton, and I'm sorry for him that he had to go through that. But the email had nothing to do with Clinton, and that's my last word on that email. What I do want to talk about is I've been recently told the reason they're going to be releasing these things and the reason for the flip is that they're sanitizing these files. There's a facility in Winchester, Virginia, where they're scrubbing the files to take Republican names out of it. That's what I was told by a pretty good source. And my main focus...
Look, do you believe that? Do you believe... Hold on, Mark, hold on a second. Two things. One,
well, I believe that,
if you don't want to talk about it...
I don't have
all right, obviously you believe it. You just said it, but... All right, but Mark, hold on a second. Let me ask you a question.
Jeffrey did not commit suicide. That's my focus. I don't care about the files. Jeffrey's dead. So I don't care of the implications of the files. That's other people's problems. My brother did not commit suicide, and we're finding more information to prove that he didn't commit suicide. So the question becomes, who killed him? Well, who had him killed? I mean, Bill Barr is key to this cover. He's come up with so much bullshit. Okay, and lies, demonstrable, provable lies. Okay, that either he's covering it up or he's stupid. What?
All right. So one thing at a time. We've discussed the fact that you don't think your brother killed himself on the Chris Cuomo Project on my podcast. People can go check out that conversation. You know, the head of the FBI and his number two, both of who used to suggest exactly what you are, says now that they've looked at everything, there is no proof that it was anything but suicide. Kash Patel, Dan Bongino.
Stop right there. They didn't look at anything. There was never a homicide-capable investigation done. They called it a suicide early on to stop the investigation. If you read the DOJ report, it's all about the screw-ups in the jails. Cameras not working, guards not doing their job. It doesn't address the issue of the cause of his death. And it was misrepresented as a suicide because they didn't want to investigate. And more information.
So you're accusing the head of the FBI in this administration of a cover-up?
Absolutely. He said, he was the one who said in his testimony, you know it's suicide when you see one. I had to laugh. How many suicides has that jackass seen? Okay? He's not a doctor. He's not a pathologist. He never saw Jeffrey's body. He wasn't there, but he knows a suicide.
Well, he's certainly changed his story about it. But I want to ask you one other thing, okay? And I get it. You don't want to talk about it. It was a private back and forth with your brother. Fine. But it is being used as proof that your brother had compromised information about Donald Trump. Is that what you are referring to, and is that what you suspect?
No, Jeffrey, in 2016, I said this publicly before, Jeffrey told me that if he said what he knew about the candidates, they'd have to cancel the election. He didn't tell me what he knew, but Jeffrey definitely had dirt on Trump. And you could see in the emails, Trump could deny it all he wants, but it's pretty clear. I mean, everything Trump says is a lie.
But that's not what you were talking about.
It's provable that he was in Jeffrey's office. He said he wasn't in the house. It's provable he was there. He said everything he says is a lie.
But that's not what you were talking about in the text thread. You don't know of any information that he had.
I'm not discussing that email.
Did you know or ever see any evidence that your brother had against Trump? Did you ever see any or hear any?
Just he told me he had it. He wouldn't tell me that if it wasn't true.
And how do you explain that it never came out and that Ghislaine Maxwell has never talked about it?
Well, yeah, she got a pretty sweet deal, you know.
She's in prison.
I'm not trying to hurt Ghislaine, but you know, one of the things I found interesting in her testimony is when she was asked about other people. You know, she said they weren't involved, they didn't do anything. But when she was asked about Trump, she went on at length about he was always a gentleman, he's always professional. And I said, why is he getting this special treatment of exoneration? And the other people, she just said, well, they didn't do anything. So, you know, even her lawyer said they cut the deal. So that's why I believe she said those things. Okay.
Did you know that your brother was talking to members of Congress during hearings?
No. Jeff and I didn't do business together. He didn't tell me those things.
Mark, I appreciate you giving your perspective. Thank you for doing it. And I understand you think it's a risk to you and the family. So thank you for taking the opportunity.
You're welcome. Good luck. I have to go. Thank you. Bye.